Alright everyone, I am going to show you how I make a composite out of two photos. So as you can see in this first example here in my Lightroom version 11, I had a Magmod, the Magbox 24 Octabox with the focus diffuser attached, and I also had an Godox 8200. They're also Flashpoint 8200s on here attached to a tripod stand, and and so forth. Okay, so we are here at the Manor, New Jersey. I have a light hitting him here in this frame, and in the other frame, I have the light off to the left here directed at her here at the bride, and he's doing something else here. And I had several different options. I had him do different poses, but I think these are the best out of like 20 that I took. So we're gonna make a composite out of these two. Okay, what I do is shift and select both photos, right click. By the way, I am actually using a Wacom tablet and pen. I don't use a mouse for editing in Lightroom and Photoshop. It's just way easier. It's like you're drawing on paper. With a mouse, it could be a little like a block, and you can slip and slide everywhere and like accidentally do too much and editing in some areas when you didn't mean to. So I think a pen is definitely necessary when you're editing in Photoshop and Lightroom. It will save the day. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna edit in Photoshop 2022 and it's gonna upload to my Perfect. So here we go. We have these two here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drag from here, click and drag and bring it to the other file. Hold shift so it lines up perfectly. Now I'm gonna shift and select both, or you can say Control A on your keyboard. And I'm gonna go up to the edit and then auto align layers in auto position. Okay, let Photoshop do its magic. And then I'm going to go in and crop, because you can see here with the transparent checkers around that it did not line up with that. And you can also see how the photos are lining up here, and they're a little bit different angles. So I'm going to crop it in so we don't have to worry about that stuff. I'm going to use 5x4, which is an 8x10, and bring it in to use my leading line, or my rule of third lines here. I'm going to have one focused on her face and the other one directed in his general area, and click. Perfect. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is keep these showing here. I'm going to mask this one here, which is the top layer. If I wanted to mask the other one, I could, but I'm going to mask this one here and remove the lighting here and just put on her. So we're gonna go to mask, which is this little circle in the middle. It turns out white. I'm gonna click on the brush tool, and I'm going to use a soft pressure opacity. Okay, and my flow, I'm gonna bring it down just so it has some control here. And I'm going to make sure it's on black, because if it's a white mask here, black is going to reveal whatever's underneath. And I have to have the brush tool. So I'm going to go ahead and start brushing away to show what was underneath. Okay? Composites are so fun. They're like really magical. I feel like it really elevates your photography if you can you know, as in creativity, elevates the creativity level of your photography if you can create composites for your couples. Get some lighting in there. Great. Okay. I think this is looking good. Very happy with this. Make that a little bit. Oh. So now it revealed something that I didn't want it to reveal, so I'll switch. It's almost like an eraser. Go back to white on the brush, and I can, using my left bracket, I can make the brush smaller very easily on the keyboard. And go back if I need to add. Let's go back down. Control Shift E to create a merged layer. So I'm going to say merged Composite. You can label it however you want. So it still keeps the original layers underneath, right? Even if you removed it like that, okay? And now I'm gonna add a curve layer here. And what this is gonna make sure it's on Control Alt G, because I want it to affect the entire photo. And go ahead and bring it down. I think I wanna darken it about here. And I wanna affect everything around and really make them the focal point. So like about, I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna go Control I to invert the mask. So it's gonna reveal what I did here with the curve layer. So let's switch that up. And I want my flow to be closer to like very low, like 4. I'm gonna do a big brush. And this is just gonna add some shadow effect, darkening effect around, almost like a vignette in a way. Now this area is so bright, so I think I might need to bring out my levels. So I'm gonna bring here, go to levels. I'm gonna actually Control G that. And then I'm gonna invert that mask so it's going, so I can darken this up here. It's like darkening the highlights around here. Beautiful. All right, next what I want to do is add another curve layer, and I'm gonna do a dodge and burn effect on the dress and obviously the people. So like for example, what I did here, Control Alt G to affect the entire photo. Let's see, I'm gonna go like about pretty little, all right? And I'm gonna call this a burn. And I'm gonna invert it with Control I. Oh, invert the mask. Control I. And I am going to zoom in, Control plus sign. And I'm going to create extra depth to the photo. Make sure the flow is down to 1. And start drawing away at all the shadows to create depth. You barely see it happening, but I promise you it's working. So if you go turn off the eye tool, you could see that it's working, okay? Without it, with it, okay? It's slowly but surely. If you wanted to, you can up the flow to see what would happen. Make sure the last mask is selected. All right, and you can create more depth. I went up to 15 from 1, which is kind of dramatic. But with garments, you can be a little bit more dramatic than on the face, because if you do the face at this level, it looks super edited and unnatural in a way. But if that's the look you're going for, that's the look you're going for. It's more, let's say, sci-fi-ish. Okay, now what I need to do is I'm going to change the name, obviously, to Dodge. Forgot to do that. I'm going to select both of these layers here with the mask of curved masks and create a group. So Control G, so I'm going to call this D and B for Dodge and Burn, so I know that. Okay, now I need to finish this area of the photo, the groom side, and do his dodging and burning right now. So I'm going to speed through that as well. Alright, so I am pretty happy with this. I can zoom in here and make sure she's good here. Perfect. So now what's next is the yellow cast in her dress, and I can fix this. It's possible. Because the overhead lighting, you know, it's like yellow and tungsten colors. Let's fix it. So I'm going to add a selective color, and I'm going to hit the yellows. Now remember, there's yellow in the skin tone, so it's going to affect the skin tones, but I'm focusing on the dress, and then I'm going to invert the mask and only affect the dress to make it more white instead of yellow. And what is the opposite of yellow on the color wheel is blue. So here on yellows, I'm going to make it more blue, so sliding it more to the left will make it more blue. Oh, and make sure it's at Control-Alt-G so it affects the entire photo. Control+ so you could get in close. Now everything that's yellow is being affected right now. So don't look at anything else that you're not trying to change here. I am looking at the dress. Oh my god, you could see I'm just not noticing the flowers. Wow. We can fix that later. Okay, so anyway, so I am only focusing on the dress here to make it more white. Okay, that's yellow. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty white. Now go to Control-I to invert the mask. Make sure it's on brush, white, and we're gonna make the flow, the flow 16, that's good. And now you're just gonna brush over the dress to get rid of that yellow cast. You can play with the entire dress if you wanted to. Anything that you wanted to turn that color. So you could see before, yellow, after. All right, so there's this bouquet here. If you Control+ to zoom in, right? I want to fix that, and how I'm gonna fix it is because I have the original layers down below here, right here, and here, and I am going to fix this by Control-J, copying that layer here, because I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go here, bring this up. You could see it again, right? Great. Bring this up, and let's see if we can bring back these flowers. This, so there we go. See how you can fix things if you keep the originals? Nice. Just like that. It was that easy. Take it out, put it back in. Take it out, put it back in. Fantastic. Okay, so that looks good. Now let's see here. I like that better. And you can play around to see if you prefer something better. So there's like a pink cast to this. That's good because her colors were pink, blush, and everything. So let's see if we can make some fun color palette here with adding a color balance. And bring this to the top. Great. And you can play with this and create a cool tone effect. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna bring more of a blue and highlights. Ooh, I want the highlights more blue, and then the shadows I'm not gonna play with, but the midtones I want to make them more purpley pink colors. It's like very magic touch. Okay, that's nice. I'm getting closer to what I like. Like a little red in there. Yeah. And right about here, kind of like that. And now I don't want it to affect the skin tone, so what you do is keep the mask as is. Make sure your brush is on black since the mask is white. The flow, I'm gonna bring it down to 19 and just brush over the skin whatever you don't want the color of the photo to affect. Basically the filter effect that you made or not. And I like it as is. This is great. Another thing I'm noticing is this blue cast up here. So what I have to do is go back to the selective color option here, go to my blues, and I want to make it more yellow to remove the blue. Oh, make sure Control-Alt-G so it's affecting the entire image, and make sure it's all the way across. Let's see, magenta is affecting it. Let's try and do, ooh, we don't want Here we go. I can do that. All right, see, it's affecting the entire photo. I'm only focusing on what's happening here. If I invert the mask, Control I, and flip it to a white brush, I'm gonna brush over that area like so, because that's where it's affecting. And then I can keep playing with this until I like it. All right, guys, I think you got the idea. So the last thing I need to do is Shift, Control, Alt, E to create a merged layer of all the effects I've made. And then I'm gonna go up here to Filter, Other, Filter, Other, High Pass. And I'm gonna go to a 3 pixel sharpness, and I'm gonna go to Overlay to sharpen the photo, and Control S to save the photo, okay? So saving the photo is, if you still have Lightroom open, it's going to create a copy in your Lightroom. So just wait for it to happen. It takes a couple minutes. It's gonna come to your Lightroom and import it in there as a TIFF file. Now look at your Lightroom, it's making a TIFF file for you. Beautiful. And you wanna see the before and afters? Here's what it looked like before and after. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps you and becomes more creative at your next wedding. And have a good day. Please follow, like, and comment so more people can find helpful tips for your wedding planning and photography tips. All right, bye, guys. Have a good one.